Hi friends, today we are going to talk about console, a command line interface, which is very important for programmers because we can automate and repeat sequences of actions like creating folders, running programs, etc. by putting commands into a single file and running them all at once and sharing them to our friends or colleagues, and also because we can usually interact through command line interface with the remote servers, which usually do not have graphic interface. So let's start with the Windows console. It's different from a Linux version. You shall see it's a bit limited, but I shall introduce you a couple of tools which make life simpler. Let's start the console by clicking main menu and typing cmd. Here is this black window. Probably you sometimes have seen it. It has some greeting like version of Windows, and it has a prompt which includes a current folder and blinking cursor. Let us type some simple command like time. It just types the current time and allows us to change it. Other seemingly useless command is echo. It just prints some message which we want. I'm a great bear, for example, like this. It just printed. It is often used in these command files when we have many commands and need to type out some messages between them. Now let us learn to navigate through all these folders, etc. First of all, how to see the content of the current folder, current directory. It's done with the dir command, which is the abbreviation of directory, which is the synonym to folder. The current folder, it's a user's home folder, and it has, you see, downloads, desktop, etc., very general subfolders for user folder. Now we can supply some different path to this command. For example, root path, which consists of a single backslash. In Windows, we separate paths as directories in the path by backslash, unlike in other systems. A root folder contains Windows and program files. You probably have seen these folders. They have various Windows programs. Now, for example, we can also print out the content of Windows in the root directory, so we precede it with the backslash. And you see there are too many files. We can use the K, the flag P, to enable pagination. Like this. You see, we now need to press some K, usually enter, after each page. And this is very useful. Or we can use wildcards to select which files we want to list. For example, we want to see only executables in the Windows directory. Star.exe. This means all files which are ended with exe extension. You see, there are not that many of them. How do we call some programs? We just type their name. For example, we see Notepad here, which is our usual Notepad. How do we call it? If we type Notepad exe, or even without exe, it will start. You shall see a bit later why, notwithstanding that it is located in the different folder. If we want to execute some other folder, some other program, we usually need to specify the full path, like backslash Windows. Let us click this. Windows Notepad, like this. We shall return to this Notepad a bit later. Now let us try to create new folder. For example, we want folder named prog. and we use command make directory mkdir. Prog means programming, for example. Now we see that in the current folder, subfolder prog is created, and we can change to it cd prog. And if we type dir here, we see it is empty now. Just two dots mean the folder upper one level. If we type like this, cd up one level, we are again in our home folder. Now, for example, let us try to create some small Python program and run it with Python interpreter. Windows do not have Python interpreter by default, but I have downloaded at least two, and they are in the root folder, unpacked Py and Py3. Py is the optimized version called PyPy. Let us try to use it. Let us see what is in this folder first. /py. You see here is the program called pypy3.exe. If we want to execute this version of Python, we just type /pypy3.exe. And here is the interpreter. We can, for example, run some Python instructions here. For example, some values in range between 1 and 10. We put 11 here because the last value isn't included. It's 55. Let us leave it with the command exit. And what I want to change now is I do not like that this Python interpreter is called pypy3. It's first, and I want to call it with the command Python without the path, like this. But you see, if I use it so, then Windows complains that it do not know such command. Let us do two things. First, we change to this Py folder, and let us simply copy this pypy3 to UC to the Python exam. Now we have one new file here with the copy command, which is judging by size, just the copy of pypy3. It's cool. If we call it here, you see interpreter is started. But if we want to call it in another directory, how do we use it? I return back to our prog folder. If I type Python here, it still don't work. How it finds the most often used folders, most often used programs? There are system variables, environment variables, and among them there is a variable named path. We can type values of all variables by set command. There are many of them, and you see here is path among them. Or we can use these variables with 2 persons in any other command like this. We can echo this path out by mentioning it in the echo command. Now this path is where really Windows search for programs when we do not supply the full path to it, and we want our Py folder to be added here. We do it like this: set path equals to whatever path already is, semicolon, and c colon /py. Now if I type Python, you see it is started even in my current folder. If you want this change to be permanent, you need to change this in control panel. It's your homework to figure out how you can do this. There are many instructions on internet. Now let us create some small Python program. In Windows, until some moment there was a console editor called edit. So we just type edit and name of the file, test py, for example. Let us some simple program to be created like this: s equals to input with the prompt what is your name, and print hello, comma, and plus this name which user have entered. I exit, save. Now you see this file is here. I can type its content with the type command. But how do I execute it? I simply type Python command to execute Python interpreter and give to it the argument of my name of my program, test py. What's your name? My name is Rodion. Hello Rodion. Great. Now, regretfully, you won't find the edit command because Microsoft haven't supported it with the move to 64-bit platforms. You can use Notepad like this, Notepad test.py. It's not very convenient, but you can install other editor or even other tool. And now I'm going to recommend you a very powerful thing which greatly simplifies working with command line interface, visualizes this work. It is called File Manager. It's the derivation from old tool called Norton Commander. You can find its main site by filemanager.com. You can download it here, and let us see how it looks like. I can start it from main menu. I have already downloaded it. You see, it visualizes the content of the folder as a panel, as two panels. For two folders, I can switch between them pressing tab. I can navigate by browsing directories with up and down arrows. I can press enter to switch folders. For example, I move to our users, i.e. user, our prog folder. Now let me change this file. For this, here we have the built-in editor, which could be pressed F4 or clicked this button below. Let us enter some number, int, from input, so we convert the value to string. Okay, you see built-in editor has syntax highlight for many languages. Now let us have some loop for I in range up to n. Let us print I multiplied by I, really I squared. I save it by pressing F2, escape, and now I'm ready to execute my program. If I type Python space test py, how do I see the console window? I just press Ctrl O, and I see that console is simply hidden behind these panels. I see that Python again isn't recognized because we haven't made this path change permanent. So I shall use it like this: Python test py. And you see there are hints or advices, so it greatly simplifies matter. Enter the number, for example 15. Here are 15 number, 15 squares. That's one of great tools. I greatly recommend you to learn it. It allows copying files, viewing them, etc., etc. Greatly simplifying work with the console. Now another useful thing which you can install is Git Bash. Git for Windows. It includes the command line interface in Unix emulator for Windows. This one. You can download, install it. It will ask you many questions. Just use defaults. When you have it, you can run Git Bash program, which really simulates real Unix console, and it has a lot of tools already included. For example, let us see the current directory, which is done by pwd command. We have dir here also, but Unix command is rather ls for looking what the directory has inside. We have prog here also. We change directory to prog. We can see in our file here. We can edit it with the built-in nano editor, I believe. Yeah, it has some hints here. Some people prefer VI editor. It's more difficult for beginners because many people even don't know how to quit from it. It's escape, colon, and Q. I recommend you to install these two because as programmer you will necessarily use Git for storing your codes at GitHub, etc. And so it's just convenient. To learn about Linux-based, Unix-based console, I invite you to watch our next video. For now, thanks for watching so far, and goodbye.